right now. And we've got a position that's already fire on the board at the center. You know, we've only had pawn moves so far by both these players, and there's big tension right now. Magnus going all out early on.
Yeah, it resembles the kind of the opening stages, the middle game stages of the Hans Niemann against Hikaru Nakamura battle from earlier, where there's two pawns kind of with a standoff against this one pawn. Neither side wants to blink. Bibisara clearly doesn't want to take in the center, giving Magnus two strong pawns there, while Magnus doesn't necessarily want to capture and break his structure either. He first brings the knight out, adding pressure to her center, and then we'll see Magnus try to get pieces out of the way to castle. I would pick white here, probably, just because it looks like Magnus is better developed, but still early days.
Yeah, so let's go back to the demands of the moment, though, right? The idea that Magnus Carlsen needs to get a full victory here. Do you feel like the position lends itself? Obviously, he as a player is favored, and you would expect in the player-to-player matchup that, yes, he could get it done. But he also has to have, you know, the landscape with which to make it happen.
Yeah, I think he should be happy. Immediately, he's got an asymmetrical position. That means Black hasn't been able to just lock down the pawn structure and make it about maneuvering. Bibisara there just moving her queen out of the way. She'll move her knight next and maybe try to castle. Yeah, it's of course hard to tell, but I think Magnus, just the fact that he was given this position with some kind of normal patterns to fall back on, and the fact that he's got the center first, should be relatively content.
The question will be how long that's got to go on for, right? Because if you're playing black in this position, and especially Bibisara's last move, what it hints at is the knight comes out of the way on the next move, you go short castle and then perhaps aim for maximum tension by pushing your own e-pawn 2 steps forward and those 4 pawns facing each other. Magnus, does he have enough time to sort of not only complete his development but play for that central advantage early on? He's the one who goes into a bit of a think right now after Bibisara's last move.
Feeling Magnus wants to castle on the longer side, so moving the light square bishop out of the way, moving the other bishop out of the way, and getting the white king castled brings the white rooks to the center as well. It just feels like maybe that's the direction to go, especially in the must-win situation. But we will see. He moves one bishop first.
He hears you. I think he's going for your plan. You want to try to create as many imbalances as possible.
I'm curious why he chose that square. I guess maybe he didn't want to allow a pin on this diagonal from the black dark square bishop. But yeah, looks like a bit of a timid move, but the idea is much more aggressive.
There was a time in the day when Magnus's heart rate was at 40 in an absolutely chaotic position. And here we're just getting started, but you know what? That just tells you about the tournament situation. He's around the 90 mark already.
He's not heartless.
Yeah. I was gonna say, honestly though, if I was his doctor, this would make me feel better. The 40 from earlier was actually concerning to a degree, so now he is looking a little bit more human.
Well, he's played some human chess today, I have to say. Usually Magnus Carlsen doesn't make the mistakes that we've seen him, so it feels like the heart rate's catching up with just that we've seen from him. I mean, especially that turnaround in Wesley's game. I'm still thinking about just how uncharacteristic that is, and it just sort of changed everything, just shook up the entire standings, the tables, and Magnus's form put under question.
And I think, you know, again, if he doesn't manage to make it up,
pawns, separating his own pawns, or will he step forward? I expect him to take that one, but nice try. She's trying to get her own king active.
And you want to try to get as many pawns off the board as possible, so Bibisara aiming for that. And this is what we were talking about earlier on in the game, right? When the position was balanced, Magnus playing the maneuvering game, just how incredibly hard these endgames can be to hold against the world number one. While saying that, I also realized that in our top 8 of the quarterfinals, we've already got the world number 2, 3, 4, and 6. World number 1 still not in the mix.
Bibisara, her pawn was not captured. There was a threat of stepping forward with the white g-pawn, hitting, undermining the black knight, which was pinned, so she had to step back. Now, I'm wondering whether Magnus goes the long way around, uses his rook to try and catch this intruder before it starts running even further. But maybe it's just time to bring the white king forward, the white pawn forward. The black knight has been destabilized, and that means the fortress has been broken. Looking very good now. This is the final stages for Magnus.
Tie breaks just around the corner. Hikaru did manage to find a victory over Vidit as well. As we're watching this one come to a conclusion, that means he solidifies first place in his group. That is important. Gives him the option of his pick from the 3-4 positions here in this group, which could very well be a Magnus Carlsen. So if you're picking the opposite group and Magnus is the 3rd or 4th, you want to be able to choose as opposed to being the 2nd slot and being relegated to having Magnus Carlsen as your opponent.
Who's in 2nd slot? Is it Hans Niemann?
Yes. So, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because we'll be able to talk a bit more about that at the end of the day, but I think you might be right. We are, of course, relying on Magnus closing this one out, and he will do just that. So he now moves up to 4 points, tying Levon Aronian 4 points apiece, and a tiebreaker to come, deciding that 4th position in this group. Oh my goodness.